I'm Brendan McLaughlin, live at the Kennedy Space Center.
And I'm Linda Hurtado, and we are about 3.5 miles away from Space Shuttle Atlantis.
And just about 5 minutes from launch. We started the day here with a 30% chance of the weather cooperating for launch, but the day has just gotten progressively brighter and lighter. The sun has come out, and now we are told officially by NASA this is a go, a 12-day mission with 4 crew members to the International Space Station aboard Atlantis.
Let's take a look at what their mission will entail.
E11, I checked them in yesterday morning. They're in for the launch.
Sherry Thompson can feel the excitement building at the Space Coast RV Resort.
These people right here are in for the launch, D1.
The summer is usually her slow season, but not this weekend. This historic flight of Space Shuttle Atlantis is bringing in customers from as far away as California and Canada.
This is big, and people go, this is the last one. I've got to be there. This is history. It's in the making.
A history lesson is exactly what this mom from Tallahassee wanted to give her young kids.
In Tallahassee, we have a Challenger Learning Center, and the kids were interested in going there. They were going to show it live, and when they expressed some interest in seeing it live, we thought maybe we would just bring them down.
So the family piled into the RV, claimed their spot, and are doing what everyone else is right now, waiting.
I think the latest we could probably stay would be Sunday.
Because Lisa has to get back to work. For Sherry, it is the work that will be missing once Atlantis is retired and the shuttle era ends that saddens her the most.
As soon as this is over, there's going to be 5,000 layoffs. And I mean, it's just, they're interviewing restaurant owners and places up in Titusville, which will be impacted even more than we down here. But the whole area works there. This is their livelihood.
Well, Sherry and Lisa and her kids and Brendan and I, we sure hope that Atlantis launches in, less than 4 minutes. I've got some interesting information I want to share with you that I got with some of my NASA experts. I think you'll like this. Astronauts will be under thrust for 8.5 minutes, pulling 3 Gs, going well over 900 miles an hour. Just pause for a second and think about how you'd like to do that. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about the crew, and if we can roll some video we shot earlier today of them getting prepared before they were actually strapped into the shuttle. Your crew commander is Chris Ferguson. It's his 3rd flight, and he has already had 28 days in space. Your pilot, Doug Hurley, he's a colonel with the United States Marine Corps. 2nd flight, logged 4,000 miles in 25 different craft. Mission specialist Rex Walheim, his 3rd flight, 5 spacewalks he's already done. And Sandra Magnus, her 3rd flight, logged 4 months at the International Space Station. Safe to say, I think, that this is a pretty experienced crew.
Yeah, first time they've had 4 crew members in 28 years. The reason being that there is no backup rescue shuttle should something go awry. That means that each of the astronauts would have to be ferried from the International Space Station one at a time aboard the Russian Soyuz rockets back to Earth, and that could take up to a year. This is a time, Linda, for people to sort of examine the legacy of the shuttle program itself. It has spanned 30 years. We are seeing the last launch today. It has been costly in treasure and lives. 14 astronauts have lost their lives in 2 disasters, the Challenger and the Columbia. And it has cost, by some estimates, $190 billion over the 30 years to develop it. But the accomplishments are equally great. The shuttle was necessary in constructing the International Space Station, which involves a number of nations. It is a pride of planet Earth in many ways. It also launched and repaired the shuttle, or the Hubble telescope, space telescope, which has provided some glimpses into the universe that would never have been possible otherwise. Everybody involved in the project points to those 2 accomplishments as a point of pride.
And let's face it, it's just really cool to watch go up. So let me give you an example of what you're going to see. At T-minus 31 seconds, the computers in the orbiter will actually take over. T-minus 6 seconds, the main engines will light one at a time. Very awesome to watch that happen. At T-minus 3 seconds, the engines are ready to lift off. Here's the key. At T-minus 0, the solid rocket boosters are lit. There is no turning back after that. The Space Shuttle Atlantis will launch. Now, at about 20 seconds, you're going to start seeing the shuttle do that roll that it's famous for, about 180-degree turn to the right. 2 minutes after, those solid rocket boosters will detach and fall away. 8 minutes, the engines will shut down. But really, it takes 45 minutes for NASA to say, hey, it's in orbit.
We're watching the clock very closely. We are going to take you to NASA Select, which will give you the best high-definition view of the launch of Shuttle Atlantis on a 12-day mission to the International Space Station. We're live at the Kennedy Space Center. We'll see you on the other side.
T-minus 1 minute. But oxygen and liquid hydrogen fill and drain valves are closed. T-minus 40 seconds, handing off to Atlantis' computers at T-minus 31. T-minus 35, 33.
Clock will hold at T-minus 31 seconds due to a failure.
And we have had a failure. Grand launch sequencer.
We had a problem on the GOX retract switches. NTDSP. Go ahead. Yes, sir. We need guys to go do the verification per the LCC, please. All right, CMAC.
Yes, CMAC. The LCC says we need to verify using a camera, and we're positioning camera 62 right now.
Okay, let us know as soon as 62 is swung over and you can verify LCC for GVA retract, please.
And all personnel, we're holding here at 31 seconds while we get a verification that the GVA has fully retracted per our pre-plan.
This is CMAC. We verify retracted.
Okay, and you can verify that it is fully retracted per the instructions that we developed, correct?
That's correct.
All right, and SPE?
And NTD, SPE concurs. They satisfy the requirements of GSE 13 pre-plan contingency. I am go.
Okay, I copy. And launch director?
Yes, sir. I heard all that and concur. Press on.
All right, very good.
NTD, SPE.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I need concurrence to GLS and mass to clear the hold, please.
Very good. And GLS, you have concurrence? Go.
Copy that. It's in work.
Thank you. Let us know when that's complete.
NTD, we have it in work.
All right, guidance.
And just a reminder for folks, our lock turn back hold time is 3 minutes and 16 seconds.
NTD, CTLS on 212. We're ready to go.
All right, very good. And launch director, with that cleanup, we're going to go ahead and proceed.
Yes, sir. Please do.
All right, and all personnel, we are going to pick up the clock here momentarily. And GLS, you can resume the clock on your mark.
Copy that. Countdown clock will resume on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark.
T-minus
Go for auto sequence start.
handoff to Atlantis' computers has occurred. Solid rocket booster nozzle steering check and work.
20.
Firing chain is armed.
15.
Go for main engine start. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and liftoff. The final liftoff of Atlantis on the shoulders of the space shuttle. America will continue the dream.
Program, Houston.
Roger roll, Atlantis. Houston now controlling the flight of Atlantis. The space shuttle spreads its wings one final time for the start of a sentimental journey into history. 24 seconds into the flight, roll program complete. Atlantis now heads down, wings level on the proper alignment for its 8.5-minute ride to orbit. 4.5 million pounds of hardware and humans taking aim on the International Space Station. 40 seconds into the flight, the 3 liquid fuel main engines throttling back to 72% of rated performance in the bucket, reducing stress on the shuttle as it goes transonic for the final time. Engines now revving up, standing by for the throttle up call.
Atlantis, go at throttle up, no action, DPDT.
Go with throttle up. No action on DPDT.
That call from Capcom Barry Wilmore, a transducer, instrumentation only, no action required. Atlantis now 15 miles in altitude, already 16 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center, 1 minute 40 seconds into the flight. Atlantis flexing its muscles one final time. Atlantis traveling almost 2,600 miles an hour, 21 miles in altitude, 24 miles downrange, standing by for solid rocket booster separation. Booster officer confirms staging a good solid rocket booster separation. Guidance now converging. The main engine steering the shuttle on a pinpoint path to its preliminary orbit. 2 minutes, 20 seconds into the flight.
Just make sure you put your hand over your heart.
That was
launch successfully.
It was a heart-stopping scenario because we were 30 seconds away from launch and there was a stop, a hold. Apparently there was some question as to whether the RSS, the structure around the shuttle, had fully retracted. They confirmed that it had indeed. They resumed the countdown and the launch went off to everybody's huge relief.
And I said, what, the astronauts were going 900 miles an hour? I think NASA corrected me, more like 2,600 miles an hour. But a successful launch of Atlantis. It is set to land back here at Kennedy Space Center on July 20th, which, by the way, Brendan, is the 42nd anniversary of man touching feet on the moon.
That's right. It's a bittersweet day for anybody that has been following this, who's been involved in the space program, because it's the end of an era. The shuttle program is no more, but it's also an exciting time, the beginning of a new era of deep space exploration, an asteroid, the moon, the Mars, and not to get all Buzz Lightyear on you, beyond.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll have more coverage at noon, 5 and 6, and on abcactionnews.com for special behind-the-scenes content. We'll see you then.